I'm Elliot Donison. I'm the founder at Payble, and today we're really lucky to be joined by Matthew Bell, who's the Manager of Financial Support Services at Hamilton, and as well DW, our General Manager of Corporate here at Payble. Just on today's agenda, I'll talk about Hamilton in just a second. Then I'm going to just spend maybe 5 or 10 minutes just covering off some key points about how the integration works. That's important. That's just because it's what enables all of these other points in terms of the adjustment to processes and behind the scenes. Matthew Bell is going to be taking us through most of these himself, so he'll share his screen, he'll do a demo, and he'll show how things look within the Payble portal and also elements within Civica Authority. Why did Hamilton partner with Payble? There were lots of reasons, but just to recap sort of the top couple, the reason was that Matt and the team really identified that they needed to do a couple of things. One was save the team a lot of time, and there was a lot of things about dishonors and a lot of admin that they needed to do around direct debits. As well as that, there was the desire to improve the flexibility that they offered to their community, make things a lot easier for customers to manage their payments. They needed seamless integration with their existing systems, and that was Civica, Datacom, and BNZ on the payment side. They needed us to be able to do those flexible payment schedules and card direct debit. They wanted to make sure that that actually led to stronger collections and improved cash flow. And of course, that last desired outcome is that they really wanted to have an impact for the community. The average rating for people paying their rates was 4.7 out of 5 at Hamilton. The question then becomes, how do we make this all work? We make this work because of integrations, but we also make this work because of expertise. The expertise is partly our own expertise. We know typically what sort of plans work and how to recommend the right things to your community, but also it's your expertise. We actually sit over the top of these two, so we don't change them. And what we do is we establish an integration that will automatically send Payble the ratepayer balances and account information. So all the data that we need from Authority gets sent to Payble. And remembering, this doesn't have to be Authority. It could be Pathway. It could be a Tech One system. It could be Magic. It all works the same. So the integration sends Payble what it needs. And then people interact with Payble, ratepayers, which you'll see the demo today. And then when it comes time for a payment, Payble is actually the one sending that payment information to council's facilities, so council doesn't have to. So what that means is it's still your payment process. So we're still sending the direct debits to BNZ, but so Payble itself isn't the processor, and so that Hamilton doesn't have to do the direct debit extraction. In terms of that first element, the integration between property and rating and Payble, if you have a look at the data, there's depending on your system and also depending on how you'd like to integrate, be it files, be it API, or be it a combination of the two, there's different sort of data that we need. At a minimum, we just need the assessment number or the property number, so we know what it's for, and we need to know the balance and the due date of that balance. So this is the absolute minimum. However, in almost all circumstances, we get the recommended amount data, or even more than that, which includes people's address, includes their names, ownership flags, the arrears, installment breakdowns. So if we know these things, we can show them to the user and drive schedules of them. As well as that, there's optional things, and this optional list gets a lot longer. So with this information, we can power everything in Payble. And then on the data being sent back, typically the required data for us is if somebody does enroll in a direct debit or a plan at Payble, we of course need to be able to send back to the core system. And then just on the banking side, so this is between Payble and the payment gateways, as I said, we automatically extract and send those files to your facility, be it the bank or be it the card processor. You won't need to manually extract those files. You won't need to do those direct debit runs anymore. And you will still receive payments, and there is still a bit of a dishonor process that we help with a lot, which we'll explain today. Well, that's what we need, but how is it done? It's really straightforward. So we either configure an automatic daily file, which is just an extract of the information that we need, and then we export it, and that'll be done automatically, normally overnight via SFTP. And then to put data back in, it's the same process. We do an extract and it's imported into the system. So that's sort of a core integration, the automatic file. Where your property and rating system has APIs and those APIs are reliable and complete, we are able to use those APIs.
This is a question I get asked quite a bit, is around what did our implementation actually look like. So it was really well structured, and it was actually quite quick from our point of view, but there are a few sort of key steps throughout this. There was that initial phase around working with our bank, working with Payable, understanding the product, understanding that interaction, and also getting Datacom on board, as you mentioned, Elliot, just around the payment transfer. From Hamilton's point of view, we had a technical implementation, which is essentially was a go live, but we didn't advertise it anywhere. So that was just for some key staff to just to try some transactions, understand what the outputs of the transactions, how they appear on our data file. So our initial implementation was a file transfer, and we kind of worked through that, and that just helped us refine some of the messaging and the information that we wanted to see within Authority, which is our ERP, and also understanding the admin portal. We did a soft launch, so once we're really happy with that, our soft launch was essentially just updating our website. So any direct debit request or any payment request via our website was going to hit the Payble platform, and customers would then be directed through that. So that worked really well, and for us that just gave us lots of confidence that when we went for our full launch, which essentially is the full noise QR code on the invoice, we knew that it was working really well. So it was just a timing thing for us. We implemented the soft launch in between our invoices to go out, and we're ready to go at our second installment last year, which was our full launch, where we had the QR code sitting on the invoice.
Matthew is going to take us over how these top 3 processes have changed at Hamilton. This one here, direct debit payment and extraction, as I said, because we take over that process. If you look at most councils I've worked with, generally on direct debit day, if you're doing that once a week, on Fridays, or potentially every day, as some councils are, or maybe you're just doing it quarterly. But as you know, you have to manually extract that file. You have to manually review for any issues or final changes in the CRMs or the records requests, and you have to manually upload. Rates team might do that, or the finance team might do that. And then you have those manual approval processes. It's not a huge thing, but it can take up to 30 minutes to an hour, and particularly if there has to be last minute changes, we basically completely automate this process. So you never need to run that process because we calculate those schedules, we send the payments to the bank. And so obviously there's an internal impact there of saving time for council. There's also that reduction in the risk of errors. Just going to stop sharing. And do you want to show us how things are on your end?
We were initially looking at implementing or exploring the product. It just took us a little bit of time to wrap our head around exactly how it works. So that could have just been an us thing. But it was really, really useful to see it in action. And so now that it's really well aligned to that New Zealand rates processes, just hopefully we can pay it forward and just clarify sort of a few things for everyone as we go. So here's our rates invoice. So this is our most recent rates invoice. So just around the implementation, those implementation steps, we spoke about getting the QR code onto our rates invoice, which down the bottom of the invoice there, you can see payment options. We've got the scan to pay. I'm going to take you through 2 different steps here. So in order just to share the process, I'm going to do it as though we're also logging on through our website. So the difference being that we're not scanning the QR code. The comms and promotion that we do, we're just really getting people to scan the QR code at the bottom. The QR code is personalized to the ratepayer, and it just means that the experience for them through their phone is really sort of intuitive. I just wanted to show on this here as well. We've got the verification number. So in our context, that's a private number that's not available publicly on the RID. So that was really important for us to have a verification, just to ensure we had that sort of 2-factor authentication for someone that was wanting to log on, that we know that we've sent the rates invoice out to the property, that we have been provided, and we're providing them with the verification number. So we include this just down the bottom here under the QR code, and that's for those ratepayers that want to log on through the website as opposed to just scanning the QR code. We're going to be in the live system here, so fingers crossed. This is our website. this is the payment page on our website. We've had a few iterations as we went through the implementations. We'll talk about just a couple of the options that we have available. So one of the sort of configuration discussions that we had early on was around what options within Payble do we want to make available to our customers. So we replicated what our existing direct debit looks like for flexible payments and installment payments, and also allowing one-off payments. But there are different options depending on what sort of the requirements for each council. So the first screen is being able to log in as a user using your mobile. So your mobile becomes your main form of access and verification.
Is that the real one, Matt, or is it a fake one?
That is the real one. So I've just received a text just with the authentication number. I'm already a customer within Payble. I've of course jumped on to that for my own rates account. So immediately it's recognizing me because of my mobile number. So because of those two are tied in, it knows me, and it just makes the process a little bit easier. I'm going to set up a payment on my rates account. So again, because I've already registered with my mobile, it doesn't take me through that separate verification process because I've already done that in the past. So quite intuitive in that way. We've got a few different options. We've always had the ability to make one-off payments through the website, and that would be through credit card. This has actually introduced the ability to do one-off payments through essentially through direct debit as well for customers that want to do that. Auto pay for us, we have 4 installments. So this is just replicating our installment payments, and we'll pay on the due date, and of course flexible payments. So for the purposes of this, I'm going to set myself up on a flexible payment. Just a bit of information. This actually differs based on what one you choose, just to sort of provide some context around what it is you're signing up to, and some cool features in there around the skipping payments, and the fact that it gives that full control to the rate payer around updating your payment methods, or receiving the text messages, which has been a massive win for us. Through Payble. It can be at any day in the week. So in this case, I'm going to set this up for the Saturday. So what it's done is it's taken my balance and divided up by the remaining amount of payments to clear the rates until the end of the financial year, which is just how we kind of structured it as we went through that initial configuration stage. The cool thing is that, I actually want to start it the following week. And it's just that automatic recalculation, immediate recalculation, just to let me know what it is that I'm in for. So if I select fortnightly, it's just letting me know what my fortnightly payments will look like to clear the rates to the end of the year. What was really important for us too is just to ensure that our rate payers were aware that we'll continue with the arrangements as we roll over into a new year. As we know, rates never stop. So this is just advising that we've got your arrangement set up, and we will continue to take payments and notify of change of payments when we recalculate rates at the start of the financial year. Next, I can choose if I want to pay by credit card or by bank account. This was a real win for us. So the implementation of allowing recurring payments through credit card, we couldn't do that in the past. So we've actually had a really good uptake of people who are paying weekly, fortnightly, and monthly direct debits by credit card. But of course, there's the traditional bank account as well. But for this case, I'm going to pick bank account. Done. Simple as that. That direct debit has now been set up. I have, if I look at my phone just down here, I've received a text message to confirm that this has been set up. Our payment portal, our admin portal. I've gone straight into my details in the admin portal. So the admin portal has lots of information, lots of really good sort of information, which is really easy to follow. We can see that at 11:36, I received a text message, which I have done on my phone just in front of me, and I can see what that text message looks like. This is just the content of the email that's also been sent. So I've already received this email as well. So from a customer perspective, it took 10 seconds to do it, choose the amount, make sure I get the bank account correct to what I want to pay from, and that's done. From a council perspective, we can see that it's done. We've got confirmation of the SMS, we've got confirmation of the email, we know when it's been done. And if we go back into the portal, we can see that payment has been set up, and we can delve into the scheduled payments. Probably the main thing just to be aware of is that arrangement that we've just set up is now separate from any of the internal processes that we would have had to run within our own internal system. So we still get the payments deposited into our bank account. We get those daily. We get Payble provides a file that we just sort of simply upload into Authority, which is a batch file. So that's a really simple process that essentially receipts against all the rates accounts that we've received payments for on that day. We don't have to have any contact as much as we like to with our ratepayers. So that's now all automated. For us, it's less calls and effort and emails, but from a ratepayer perspective, it's awesome. It's just providing that control and that flexibility that sort of hasn't happened before. And the big one is just the visibility. We get lots of questions around, what's my payments looking like? I need to, adjust something on it. It just takes all of that away now. We're largely removed from the dishonor process. So as Elliot mentioned, a big thing for us was just sort of ensuring that we could handle dishonors better. We do, unfortunately, we do get dishonors come through, and it's a bit of a clunky process for us. So we're now removed from that for any payable arrangement. We, like all councils, there'll be a recalculation every year. We set rates every year. We now no longer need to consider recalculations for any payable arrangements. There's an automatic recalculation process just within Authority. So we, as Elliot mentioned before, there's a file transfer process for us. Just has a really simple addition into Authority in terms of creating an arrangement within our Authority screen. So that's just how we know there's a payable arrangement. The main thing really, because we've got access to a portal which is really easy to use and really intuitive, all of the crunchy stuff is in there, so we can delve in and see the details of the arrangement, the payments that are being scheduled, whether there's any missed payments or dishonest, those kind of things. So it's a process that we've tried to improve in the past, but it is quite a heavy manual process. So this is our pre-payable process. We would duck into our online banking and pull out all of the dishonors that occurred that day. We would do this in a bulk way, but we have to kind of review every dishonor. There's a few things that we need to understand, and that sort of informs us on what action we would take around that dishonor. So how often does that happen? So we're looking at past transactions to see, is this a common thing? What's the reason? And what frequency are they on? So if they dishonor once or twice and they're paying weekly, then we might handle that a little bit of a different way if it was just once a month. Have they already contacted us? So we're looking at things like, have we received a payment? Have they contacted us and told us, in which case we might have made a note against the account to expect it? So we're doing all of these, or have been doing all these things in the past around dishonors. And again, do they make manual payments? So part of our process is to ask the ratepayer to, whoops, you missed a payment, can we please have a manual one? So we're just going to check to see if that's kind of happened in the past. It's a staff member that will be dealing with it, so ultimately it's up to them to make a decision. Quite a common thing. We'll then add a memo to each account where there's been a dishonor. We need to reverse the receipt in Authority, obviously, and we then need to notify people. There we go. So this is what we do. This is what we do now. So we reverse the receipt. That's it from our point of view. So that's amazing. It's taken sort of several minutes per dishonor to several seconds, essentially. Automated text message. So there's a text message that will go out to the customer to let them know it's happened straight away, which is amazing. It gives the text message will give them the link. You can self-repair this and you can manage it, which we haven't been able to do. If that's not done, so a self-repair might actually be that they've updated their bank account details because they used an incorrect bank account or a closed bank account. So the payment retries will then kick in after a couple of days if the ratepayer hasn't actually made that payment themselves, or cancellation. So just lastly on dishonor. So just to give you a bit of an idea, so we looked at the text that I received once I set up my payment plan. So again, just a similar text. So customers received a text just to let them know that it's dishonored, and the link there just takes them back into the Payble platform and just enables them to self-manage and self-repair admin portal. So this is us as council. This is our ability to see what's going on. So again, just sitting within me as the customer, just to show you the options. So there's some really cool things. So once a contact has been set up, we've got the ability to do lots of different stuff, but just to show a couple of cool things is just the ability to send a text. So either we can create a contact on behalf of the customer. So we've got the customer on the phone and they're going, I want to sort out my payments. We can create them as a contact. We've obviously verified them over the phone, and we can push out a text to them to go, yep, cool, click on this link, and it will take them through the correct verification process then to set up a payment arrangement. If we've verified them already and we're dealing with the customer, we can actually flick out some text to them. So in this case, we've discussed your property, and we want to flick you out the link to set up a new plan. And there it goes. So the text is updated, which is a personalized text again. So it will take them. So this is something that as a Payble user on my phone, I have access to do this or not. But there's various texts that will go out to the customer, depending upon what's happening with their transactions. There's some really important texts that go out, and that's around if there's any issues with the payment or there's been recalculations. So those will always go through. Add a new payment plan. So I guess this is where Darius was just sort of referencing those arrears and those bespoke type situations. So there will be situations where not every customer can afford to pay the rates by the end of June, but they do want to engage in a structured plan. So the cool thing here is we can do more of a bespoke arrangement. So we can either set that up as an amount, so you're hitting a target amount, or you're paying an amount over a period of time. Now I set up a bespoke arrangement to choose if we want the customer to skip a payment. So we can allow the customer to skip a payment. If by skipping a payment, it would recalculate on a normal arrangement, would recalculate the balance to then clear the rates for a period of time, and that has created the plan. So here is all of the payments that will be required now in order to hit that $2,000 mark at $50 a week. But that would then generate the text to the contact to go, we've done this, we've set it all up. You can click on the link and you can view it and you can see it. There's just a little bit less control for the customer in that case, because the purpose of this plan is to help them manage arrears. So we just want to have a little bit more control over that process.